started thinking today, actually yesterday, about this whole thing in the reopening. A lot of people have already thought about reopening. I was talking to Zach Siokas. Zach has planned. He already bought a red carpet. He's going to do a red carpet in the ropes and everything. I said, well, you're only going to be able to put 10 people in your school. He goes, that's good. 10 people at a time will walk down the red carpet. So people have started talking about different things. Last night I went on Google and I just Googled in. Hold on, I just want to change the screen. So I just Googled in, how long will social distancing last? And there's really no answer, of course. Some people felt that, maybe to the end of May. More general was that it could happen until fall, and then we may come back to social distancing if the virus comes back in the fall. There were some people from some hospital, some university, they say social distancing will be around until there's a vaccine. And that could be to 2001 to 2002. But that's really important because we may open up, but since we do martial arts and martial arts is very physical, how are we going to do that when we're 6 feet apart? I was thinking, like, if you were at Krav Maga school, Krav Maga is all about holding on to someone, there's some type of contact, you're doing drills. Very rarely are you just practicing in the air, or you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, you're holding on to someone through the entire class. There'd be no social distancing. So how does the school handle something like that? Do they just come back and rebrand themselves as a karate school? So I started thinking about that. And then I started thinking also about a lot of people who just teach karate classes now no longer do forums. And so this may be a good time if people are coming back to school and you have to do social distancing. Not only are we going to do some drills, we're going to do some exercise, we're going to do all the warm-ups, but when it comes down to teaching martial arts, maybe we're going back to the art of martial arts and have to do some type of forms. But it's definitely not going to be like it was before. And then you're probably going to have the renegade schools that go, hey, I don't really care. As long as the guys are back, if they want to pair up and practice with each other, that's all fine. But then you start thinking about, what if someone does get sick and someone infects someone else and they trace it back to your school, not keeping social distancing? So if we're going to reopen, we're going to be successful, everyone has to be responsible. Quite a few years ago when I had United Professionals, I did my own curriculum, which is called Universal Curriculum. At the same time, one of my board of directors, Jesse Elder, he revamped the Universal Curriculum into something a little more sophisticated that he called the Elements Curriculum. Derek Frater, who is the head instructor at my school in Arizona, was with Jesse Elder when Jesse Elder did the Elements Curriculum. Now, when my school in Arizona started getting too many students to do regular classes where I could have beginning, intermediate, advanced black belt classes, we decided to change our curriculum to the Elements Curriculum because the curriculum was designed to be taught in classes of all ranks. So you could be a white belt, a green belt, a brown belt, and a black belt, still trained in the same class. The whole idea was you're learning the curriculum for the first 18 months. The second 18 months, you're going to repeat it. People who are repeating it now become some type of assistants, junior instructors. They've had it before. They're learning it faster, and they can share it. So it's a really unique curriculum. It does have forms. Forms are kid-friendly in that there's not a lot of angle changes. It's pretty easy for the kids to learn. They're going to memorize it. If you're teaching a form in a class, probably 90% of your students will have it memorized by the end of class. So there isn't that lag time. We have a couple of students that don't have the learning skills of some of the advanced students, and they're going to feel behind. So the forms are really, really good. The forms have certain rhythms to it, which makes it unique. When I say rhythms, instead of someone just doing a form, they do a form to a cadence. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as they're learning the moves, they're learning the cadence. You're almost developing a demo team as the kids are learning. So it's really, really strong. It's just basics. I think our first form is doing front kicks. The second form is doing roundhouse kicks. The third form is doing side kicks. So during the segment that they're learning the form, they're getting really, really solid on a small amount of basics. So it produces really good skills. Now, when we did this in Arizona, we wanted to make it easy for training staff. So we filmed the entire curriculum for 18 months. We did drills for skills every week for 18 months. The kids would never repeat the same drills for skills. So it kept the variation, it kept them interested. Every class is scalable. What I mean by scalable is if you join Orange Theory is all about aerobic type training and strength training. So for the first 30 minutes, you're doing either a rowing machine or you're on a treadmill and you're doing time. Now, if I'm just walking there for the first day and Lou Marvel's been there for 6 months, he's doing the same exercise as I am, but it's scaled. So they're going to go, hey, let's see how much you can walk, how far you can walk in 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, they say, okay, how much did you walk? I go, well, I was able to walk for 1/10 of a mile. Lou says, well, I walked for 1/2 a mile. So we both got a good workout. It was scalable from a beginner to advanced because it was how much he can do in a minute compared to what I can do in a minute. So that's what the Elements curriculum is. If we're doing drills, we're not doing a number of drills, we're doing a time block of drills. So again, it's scalable for beginning, intermediate, and advanced students. This is kind of a visual of the Elements curriculum. We do it in 6 segments. Each segment's 3 months long. So the first element we're learning is fire. So these are banners we have for the schools that do the Elements curriculum. It's kind of a visual for the students. So as we do the fire element for 3 months, we're really teaching students how to train with intensity. Element 2 is water. So the water segment is, again, 3 months long, and we're doing techniques and things that demonstrate flexibility. Then we go into strength. Strength is kind of self-explanatory. Knowledge is learning what we're doing and why we're doing it. In harmony is we have 2 segments in harmony. One is called dark, one is called light, and the techniques reflect the name. So we do 6 elements. Each element's done for 3 months. So it takes us 18 months to complete one cycle, then they repeat the cycle. So in 3 years of training, the same student will do one form 2 times each. So there'll be 6 forms, and they do them 2 times each. So let me click in here. So the way I have it, and this is free for all Rainmakers. It's in what we call the vault. We have weekly class plans. This is the class plan you're going to use for your staff to present the material. We have videos. The videos are to teach the instructors the curriculum. And the written instruction is for both instructors and students to hand out. So if you're teaching a class, then you can hand out a written instruction. So when the student goes home to practice, they have written instruction, so it makes it easy to practice. So let me just go through one of them. So this is the weekly class plans. There's 11 weeks, and then the 12th week we do for testing. So the kids are learning, or the adults, whatever, because it's all age groups, they're learning weekly elements. At the 12th week they test, so it's a 3-month cycle. So let's just click on one of these. So this is what our class plan looks like. Let me move this. So the class plan is designed by minutes. So the whole idea is, again, I want to be able to train my staff easily to present a class. So I have everything timed out for the staff. So it's 3 minutes. First 3 minutes of class, we bow in, we line up. I do any type of announcements for the class. I'm welcoming new students and parents, and I'm pre-framing the class. The pre-frame is just, hey, I'm glad you're here because today we're going to be doing this. So you got 3 minutes to get everything going. Also the student creed. Next 5 minutes, this is our warm-up. And this one, again, we do it by seconds. So we're doing knees because during this cycle, we're going to be doing a lot for front kicks. So in our warm-ups, we're doing knee raises. And we have the students quickly do 30 seconds. They're alternating knee raises below the belt. Then the partner does them. And then we do 30 seconds each belt level. And then we do 30 seconds each going above belt level. So that's the exercise. Click here. We embedded the lesson sheet. So this would be a lesson sheet that your instructor would use on an iPad. If all of a sudden he got to class and goes, man, I don't remember this drill, he would just click here. And after you click here, you're going to go to a YouTube link sooner or later.
Everybody, Derek Freddy with you.
And the YouTube link has the drill. So I'm going to just fast forward a little.
Once he does, because he only has to bring his knee up just a little bit, not a lot. Now at the end of 30 seconds, we see I'll switch. Now it becomes my turn. He puts his hands, using my belt as a guide, boom, right there below. Then,
so if you want your instructors to review what's done in class, they can easily do it just by hitting the embedded. So we do 3 minutes to warm up, 5 minutes. Now it says 7 or 12. The 7 or 12, the difference is the age group of your students. If you're doing 30-minute classes, these two are like the meat and potatoes of class. So you're spending 7 minutes on a 30-minute class. If you're doing a 45-minute class, you're going to spend 12 minutes. Element 1 is the form. So we're going to do 4 different drills. We're going to do 1 through 5. The instructor's doing the demo and leading. So this is like follow the leader. Everyone's facing towards the mirror, and we're following the instructor. After we do that, we're going to do the first 5 moves. The instructor counts. So now the instructor becomes the conductor, faces the class. He's calling out the numbers, and the class is just following through. Then the class is going to do it as a team, and then we're going to practice that performance level. So that's how we're going to present it. And then the next 7 to 12 minutes, this depends on your school. We usually either do sparring on A days, on B days, or weapons on the A days. Now with the coronavirus and social separation, you know, your sparring's gonna definitely change. You're probably doing 1-step or shadow sparring. The next 5 minutes we have, it's called high energy finish. The high energy finish is taking things we did in class, and we give 5 minutes for the students to actually practice. What we're doing is we're teaching that training is fun. So far up to this class, the people are learning. They're learning, practicing, learning, practicing. Well, the last 5 minutes, we're going to just train. So we're going to do kicks. We're going to do 10 in the air, switching sides. We're going to do 10 on the target, switching sides. So this way, they're doing a lot of practicing, but we're really not doing a lot of correction. We're doing a lot of praising and encouragement. I really want my students to leave where they're smiling, they had fun, they weren't overwhelmed with a lot of corrections. I mean, we gave some encouragement, but this is high energy. We want them high energy finished. So they're sweating, they're smiling, they're leaving in a good mood. And then we line back up, and for 3 minutes, we're doing feedback. Hey guys, this is what you did today. That's why we did it. Hey, don't forget we have these announcements coming up. We're going to congratulate new students. I just want to congratulate David. David, today was your first class. You're totally awesome. Hey guys, I want to make sure David feels great. So after class, everyone's going to high five him. We're going to pre-frame next class. Hey guys, you really have to look forward to coming to next Thursday, because next Thursday we're doing this. And then you do your mat chat lesson week and bow out. So these are how detailed all the plans are. If you started this curriculum in your school, you can start with any elements because they're all basically the same length forms. We usually start with intensity because it's just like a really, really high energy way to start. Hold on one second. Okay, these are the videos. So if you're say, okay, this sounds good, but I don't know how to do the elements curriculum. This Derek Frater does all the elements. So this is the breakdown of the element 1. The element 1 is actually the form. what it's really neat about these videos, we don't just show you how to do the curriculum, we show you stories and analogies as we teach the curriculum. So the bow in this is all about potential. So we raise the hands in the high potential. The next part of the bow, you bring your hands in front of you. It's like an open book. You're an open book writing your own story. Then you seize your potential and drive it down. So all that's explained. So as you're teaching the bow, you're not just following what we're doing, you're actually learning why we do what we do so you can pass those lessons on to your students. I won't spend too much time, but just to show you.
Now it's time for curriculum 1. This cycle, we are doing element 1. Now the bow for element 1 and element 2 is the same bow. The philosophy behind it is about potential. So let's go ahead and review that first before we get into all of our moves. So the bow is feet together. When the instructor yells, ready, the students will bring their hand left hand over right in front of them, just like this. When the instructor yells, stance, they step out, hands shoot up, you bring them down by your side, and you curl those fingers in and make a fist. Here's the philosophy behind it for potential. So we tell our students that their potential is limitless. And so they can achieve anything they put their mind to, whether it's in martial arts, getting their black belt, or what they want to be when they grow up. Okay, we tell our adult students the same thing. Not so much what they want to be when they grow up, but maybe it is about achieving a goal for their profession, or about losing weight, or a certain level of health or fitness, or even confidence with self-defense. Whatever it is, this is your potential. So when the instructor yells ready, boom, your potential is right here in front of you, kind of like an open book. Now we said that it's limitless, it shoots through the roof. So when the instructor says stance, they step out, and it shoots up through the roof. Now, one thing we got to make sure our students understand is that if we don't work towards their potential, they don't work for their goals and their dreams, somebody else is. So we don't want anybody else leaving with our dreams or leaving with our goals or achieving our goals. So we got to claim it for ourselves. So ready, here's our potential. Stance, shoots through the roof. We bring it down by our side and we claim it and make it ours with that strength. So all together, our bow for element 1, the instructor yells, ready, stance, and they curled in. Now, teaching.
The reason I want to go through a lot of that, because it's got a cool factor. So when you're doing this and the kids feel like almost like a superhero, so it's got a cool factor. Adults love it too. They love the acting part of it. And the last part I didn't show you is the written instruction. The written instruction is just, we're going to do, this is for the comma form. So it tells you the sections, the different sections of the form and how to do the different sections. So it's pretty complete. Everything is done from white belt through their second degree black belt. So there's under black belt curriculum, and then there's mastery, which is above black belt curriculum. But again, you know, some people may have to change what they're doing because they're not allowed to do what they really want to do because of social distancing. So if you're interested in doing that type of curriculum, it is available to Rainmakers. You have to have access to the vault. If you don't already have access to the vault, send an email to Valerie@getstudents.com. So it's Valerie@getstudents.com. Just say that you're a Rainmaker and that you would like access to the vault, and she will send you back an email so you can create your own password. She'll tell you how to log in and then create your own password. So we have time for discussion. Mr. Johnson, I know you're pretty active with both Get Students and with Rainmaker. Are you prepared for reopening?
So California has not said an awful lot about the potential of reopening. So only late yesterday did the governor suggest within weeks, not months, of something happening. but I've been following all of the discussions led by you and some other folks around reopening and limiting class sizes and maybe even scheduling folks to specific classes. Currently, we operate in an environment where it's unlimited classes for our students, and that is absolutely going to have to change. And that's been a big selling component for us because other schools in the area do not allow it. So a little bit of our, our competitive edge is going to get eroded by potentially having to do scheduled classes. So yeah, we're wrapping our heads around what does that look like, changing spaces on the mats, closing the lobby. You had referenced at one point suggesting parents and kids stay out in the automobiles until the other class has exited and a wipe down has been performed. So all of those things we're actually taking into consideration. The majority of our students are children, which I'm assuming is pretty much everyone's business model. And I just can't imagine parents being exactly excited about sending their lovely little children back into smaller schools. One of my schools is pretty small. The other one of my schools is larger. So I have a dilemma in one and less so of a dilemma in the larger school. So yeah, it's a big balancing act.
And then again, there's no expert in this because everything changes every day. So you could have a big school and still limited to a gathering of 10. So we really don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I would still say it's going to be 6 feet apart, which means every student needs 36 square feet. So you take, you got 1,000 square feet divided by 36. That's how many people you can fit in there with the instructor. So
yeah,
staff may have to cut down a little, which you don't need a big staff to teach 10 people. So
10 people, that's correct. Yep.
Online classes are still going to be important. A lot of people are doing online classes. I haven't seen a lot of you guys except Johnny Karate. His classes are really, really good. He's been having great attendance, which keeping the main thing is what's really important now. And the main thing is keeping as many students as active as it possibly can. And taking attendance, and if people aren't coming to virtual classes, calling them, doing makeup classes. I just watched my grandson take his green belt test last week, which actually he thought was pretty cool because people who came to watch him on Zoom weren't people that usually go to watch his classes. So he had his uncle on there, he had grandmother on there. So he thought that was a cool experience. So the Zoom classes are going to keep going. Even though your school comes back, you're going to have, like you say, some parents that are apprehensive, want to just, okay, let's see how things go for a couple months. If things go good, so the Zoom classes aren't going to stop.
Yeah, I don't think so. One of the things we've been doing also is Zoom classes, but then we're doing instructor check-ins. So we'll group 2 or 3 students of the same skill set together so that very specific feedback can be provided after a demonstration of the skills or stuff that they're learning in the larger group classes. And that's worked really well for us. The parents have really appreciated that. And there was an idea I saw somewhere early on about creating a reward system. So you attend a class, you get points. You attend class in uniform, you get additional points. If your family joins you, you get more points. And so we've been ratcheting up points. We have some people with well over 1,000 points that'll get raffle tickets at the end, when the end happens, surrounded by a big party and get together. And of course, social distancing will probably have an impact on what that party looks like.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to do, I already planned it for, if this didn't happen, I was going to have a raffle contest. I'm going to do a raffle contest this month and still send them a prize. So whoever wins the prize, you'll still send them a prize. So I feel like instead of waiting, they're like, you're going to get something right now. Well, not now, but like, we will send you something. And I think that idea could be really good because you can go to Walmart, you can go to any of these stores, Amazon, and you can just directly send them whatever you want to send them. So I feel like you can really get that idea of like, I will earn something now, I just sent out the digital Get Students award thing, and people were happy. They sent me a picture of their kids, with their awards. So I feel like I think we have the ability to give people tangible things.
Yeah.
And I think people will understand that, hey, like I know my governor Cuomo, he's like talking about like the gauge of like, like a water thing. I think the idea of like, if we start teaching, even though you have a limit program, hey, for now, I would like everyone to train twice a week. We have the option for online classes. So they get the extra days, but they get to do the real life training. I think everyone will be happy and people will be understanding.
So yeah, that's a great point, right? I never thought about part of the pitch is, hey, you still do all of the online training you want to do, but you're going to be limited to 2-3 times in person.
No one's going to get mad about you. And if
Yeah.
they're getting mad about you.
Well, my guess is they're not going to get mad, because if I allowed a whole bunch of kids to come in, parents would be more mad about that than anything.
You're in California. So New York, California, we have a similar kind of people. So yeah.
I'm not here to push get students, but they do have a couple things. I saw Mark put out a thing for like $20. You get like 13 different backgrounds. I don't think that's as cool for you as if you send it to all your students and all your students got to play with the background. I think they would think that was fun. That's why I thought that was a good idea. For $20, if you had 100 students, you send all 100 students all the backgrounds, and they got to choose the one that they wanted to look like. I think there's a fun factor there. I know they also send packages of worksheets, so they can do worksheets on perseverance or courage and things like that. I think that's a great package too, because it's only $20. Again, it's not $20 per student. All your students can get it, and you can actually do those worksheets during class. Because when you have like the tiny tigers and little dragons, even the little kids, 15 minutes to a half hour is a long time to be online, especially when they're doing homework online. So just to have a little break where they're actually doing this. I was talking to Derek Frater. Derek Frater had a thing that they're supposed to break through fears. And so they had to write down their fear, and they put it on a white piece of paper and they put it in front of the camera. So all the kids are doing this, and then they had to tear their fear in half. That was just like a cool thing to see on his Zoom. We have all these kids and they'll have these fears and everyone ripped at the same time. Doing activities like that, I think, is just, again, makes it more of an experience. So they're not just doing their martial arts class, but they're having an experience. I was talking to Charles Jarnigan. Charles owns a school in St. Louis. He's got a really good culture. He's a traditional Japanese martial arts school, teaches very traditional Japanese martial arts, has 225 students. Last 2 weeks, he had 3 people removed for 2 years. So these were doing Zoom conferences, and he got 3 people that are on regular programs are about to expire, and they all went on for another 2 years, which is huge. He has a VIP mom, and the VIP mom says, Charles, I know you're going to have a hard time. We've been at the school for a while. We're well off. We're not going to be hurt by any financial crisis here. If you have students...
Workmate. It's fun, exciting, totally confidential, and always free.
I don't know what that was all about. They said, we will be glad to pay for students who can't make their payments. This one VIP mom is paying for 10 other students. That is huge. I mean, you got to figure out how many people are drawn to your school. And when he was telling me today, I said, that's what Tony Robbins talks about, anchoring. He talks about anchoring like you're driving in your car and all of a sudden you hear music from like 1980 and it's, all of a sudden you got a smile on your face. Well, something was happening when you heard that music 40 years ago that still makes you smile today. Your students are really anchored to your martial arts school because they have all kinds of problems throughout their lives. When they go to your martial arts school, everything is good. They're getting encouraged. They're getting a pat on the back. So people are loyal to you, and they want to see you on these Zoom classes, and they want to do more than just class. They want to have you say hi to them and give them a compliment and share a story or two. So keeping that community is so important, just as much as the classroom experience.
I don't know if you guys saw, he created, Master Greg, he created the digital stripe, and I sent that out recently, and I had kids really, really happy that they got a stripe on their belt. You know, you can just cut it out and they can tape it on their belt. I think the idea of retention tools is really, really important. And that definitely helped me a lot this week. And then when I do the online testing this week, me sending out Amazon in the belts, I feel like that's going to be a big deal. It's going to keep our kids,
Yeah, Craig Haley's a Rainmaker. He's got a school down here in Deerfield Beach, Florida. He did online testing, and he had a drive-through to get their belts. All the parents were lined up around the block, and everyone came in and they got their belt, which I thought was kind of cool. He did fist bump a couple of people. I thought that probably wasn't a good idea, but the whole idea of, this guy's not getting his belt. All right, guys, thank you for being on today. I'm going to make a recording of this. If you want to share that recording with any friends of martial arts schools, feel free.
Thanks for all the support.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good seeing everyone.
Take care.